Coming up on Off Their Rockers today, we're going to be speaking with Dawn Fleming about claiming your dream life. Are you ready to retire? Have you retired and still haven't figured out what to do? Or maybe you're just thinking about moving out of the country and trying to figure out how to do that. Dawn has done all of these things, and she's got some great starting points and some great advice. And by the way, if you like our podcast, Off Their Rockers, I wanted to remind you I have another podcast called hashtag Surviving Alzheimer's. I lost my mom to Alzheimer's, and I took everything I learned, the good, the bad, the ugly, and yes, even the funny, and have created a podcast that's for caregivers, it's for friends, it's for families, it's for anyone trying to navigate that crazy. Welcome to Off Their Rockers with your host, me, Dayna Steele, and Lisa Forehand, two women who have reinvented ourselves later in life and want to help other women do the same. We live, we love, we party, we travel, we have sex, we have insecurities, we dish, we do and feel almost all the same things we did in our 20s and 30s, but with a lot more wisdom these days. So no matter what age you are, join us as we visit with friends. You might learn something and even better, gain the courage to start a brand new adventure. This is Off Their Rockers, and your life starts now.
Hi there, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and there's Dawn. I see Dawn.
Hello.
I can hear you, Lisa, but I don't see you.
Yes, I've got to turn my video on.
We're a little challenged, Dawn, but it's like a first world problem. She's at the beach and I'm in the mountains. So
Oh, yeah,
The
I
beauty of
know.
technology, though.
joining us on Off Their Rockers today is Dawn Fleming. Dawn is I'll read the official bio, Midlife Reinvention Mentor, which I love, for pre-retirees, from what now to what's next, and the founder of Life in Paradise. I got to start off with asking you, how did you get into this line of work?
Well, it was a long and winding road, as they say, but it all kind of started after the 2008 financial crash. My husband and I lost pretty much everything. We were living in Orange County, and life was grand one day, and then the next day it wasn't, is what it seemed like. But yeah, we struggled for 2 years, and then finally said, "We're out of here." We'd wanted to get out of Southern California, jumped on our sailboat. We had a 48-foot sailboat, sailed all the way through the Panama Canal, relocated to Florida. Northwest Florida was too cold, and Southwest Florida was too old. So we took off to my favorite place on the planet, a little Caribbean island called Isla de las Mujeres off the coast of Cancun. And yeah, he's giving the thumbs up there. And it was pretty cool. I'd been going there since 1992. It's changed a lot. But after having three houses in foreclosure and owing $1.1 million on property suddenly worth 600, I was a little leery about buying property again. And so we didn't really like what we saw in Florida. So we ended up buying this little foogly little house. It was only 4 years old, owned by a British couple, turned it into a boutique hotel, doubled the size, and lived on the island for about 5 years, ran it. And we would go to the beach. My husband would strike up random conversations with people, partly marketing for the hotel. But, where are you from? Have you been here before? All that sort of thing. And of course, what do they do? Well, where are you from? And he'd say, well, we live here. And they go, what? You live here? Mm-hmm. And so after about 100 of these conversations, literally, I'm like, people really seem to be interested in this. And so I put together my first digital product, which was how to protect your wealth by buying foreign real estate, because I got tired of people asking me, oh, you can buy property in Mexico, and how does that work, and all that stuff. So I put that together, and then I started some workshops right after COVID. People were like, I got to get out of here, wherever they were, right? And so I put together some workshops, and that actually became my book. I put all my workshop teachings into the book, and so that came out a few years ago, and been just kind of pivoting a little bit. It started out more about moving overseas, but what I came to realize is paradise is internal. right? Wherever you go, there you are. So geography isn't necessarily the answer. And as I started kind of getting into more of like, it was about the dream life, right? Not about the location. So that's when I kind of pivoted and I was like, I think actually what happened, it was funny. I went on this free workshop about creating a YouTube channel because I'm like, I know I need to be on YouTube. I had a podcast for about 3.5 years, but it was audio only. I hid behind the microphone, no visuals. And finally, I said, after the book came out, I'm like, I know my audience is on YouTube. I know I need to get out there, but video, right? Different animal. So, and I didn't know anything about YouTube. So I took a free workshop. And that was kind of when I learned it was like, it's about disruptive marketing, right? You can't be vanilla. Nobody will listen to you. You can't blend in. And so they started to, and I'm like, well, that works for me because I've been a rebel my whole freaking life. So yeah, I'll throw stones at, tradition and, all that stuff. So, but it was funny because the woman asked me, she's like, well, what's your industry? And I'm like, industry.
What do I do?
My industry. I don't have an industry. And then I went, shit, I think it's retirement. Which is so funny because the subtitle of my book, right, is How to Retire in Paradise on a Shoestring Budget. And I actually almost literally fought with my publisher. I'm like, I do not want the word retire on the front of my book. I believe the soul did not come here to retire. And they're like, yeah, I know, but that's what people are looking for. That's like what they search for and stuff. And so here I am like, okay, I guess I'm into retirement now. And it's all about not retiring really and teaching people that, the soul didn't come here to retire. Like if you're breathing, you should be doing something. I mean, if you don't need money, that's fine. You don't have to work for money, but I'm sure you've kind of studied too, the longest study on happiness by Harvard University shows the happiest people have a purpose, right? They have a community. And so kind of, it occurred to me like, nobody hands us a manual, like here's how to retire, right? I mean, like people see this as like crossing the finish line, but then it's like, oh my gosh, now what? Who am I? What do I do? Like,
Yes.
And I've done so much research in this area. And I mean, some of these stories are just heartbreaking. I mean, people like literally committing suicide after a fulfilling career because they don't know what to do with themselves anymore. So been very interesting.
Wow. I love that. What a journey.
Yeah. And that's like the Reader's Digest version. I mean, there's so much more to it. There's like layers, but I tried to be concise.
Well, you've taken big risks and I understand you have a free guide.
Yes.
And in that, it's called Before You Retire.
Yeah.
You've included what retirees have shared that they wish they were told before they retired. And I think that's amazingly valuable. I mean, you've not only taken this journey, but now you're reaching out and essentially laying out a roadmap for others.
Yeah.
I love that.
And as time goes by, like I went to a workshop a couple of weeks ago. One of the, I'm in the eWomen Network group here. I love them. They're really a great group of ladies here. But one of them put on a workshop for exiting a business. And of course, I'm a recovering attorney. I was a business and corporate law attorney. So, and then, our place is for sale in Isla Mujeres. And I'm also, building something new. And so I'm like, I want to go to this. And it was interesting what they said. The speaker said, so many people lose as much as like 40% of the value of their business because they don't want to retire. And so what happens is they get burned out, right, from their business, but they don't want to let go because, oh my gosh, you have to figure out what comes next. And the way he said it too was like, ew, who wants to do that, right?
Hey, it's Dayna Steele. We'll be right back with more of Off Their Rockers and Dawn Fleming. Also wanted to remind you, every morning I write, curate, verify, and edit a list of nonpartisan facts. 10 to 20 facts. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Martian, Independent. It's just the top stories and also debunking some of the crazy that seems to go viral. You can find it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Or you can sign up for the morning email so you never miss any of the facts at daynasteele.com, DaynaSteele. Let's get back with Lisa and Dawn Fleming and help you claim your dream life. Well, I was going to ask you real quick, in your guide, there are 5 things
Right.
that you say high achievers must know. I don't know if you want to give away all 5 on the
Oh,
podcast, or
heck no.
but can you give us the first 2, and then I'll put a link to all 5 where people can find all 5 on your website or on LinkedIn. But what are the first 2?
Well, I don't know if I want to go in order, but I'll give you my favorite 2. How's that? My favorite
Okay.
2.
Sure.
And the favorite one, of course, is having a reason to get out of bed every morning. It's that purpose. I think
Purpose.
that is so huge, and people don't think about that. They don't think about how their identity is wrapped around their career, right? Or who they are in the world, their accomplishments, all of that. And so it's and it could be, I mean, I know I struggled personally with my purpose. Like I knew, decades ago that like I'm here to do something. Can you tell me what it is? And I mean the prayer, the personal development, the insight and all that. And it's and ultimately what I realized, it's like, that will be revealed in due time. But in the meantime, get a little purpose, like just projects, right? Even just little projects that you're excited about.
I was doing a podcast yesterday with Deb Eckerling, she's written a lot of books on goal setting.
Mhm.
And she was doing a story for Third Act magazine. And she said, but what would you advise somebody? I said, what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? Work backwards from that. Even if it's just volunteering somewhere or going to a workshop, what are you passionate about? Is it kayaking? Is it quilting? Is it gardening? Whatever. Okay, now work backwards from that. What is available in your area or online that you can get involved with? And you never know where that'll lead.
Well, and I have a little exercise that I teach. I call it your freedom formula. And it
Hmm.
doesn't really have anything to do with money. It can be used to get to a money making idea or business, if you will. But the whole idea of it is the synergy between what you're talking about, the passion, but also the skills. Like we all have superpowers, I call them, right? What are your
Oh,
superpowers? And
yes.
so I don't care if it's for profit or nonprofit, like God gave you some skills. And we can always learn more, of course, but I think we all have some natural talents, things. Now, just because you're good at something doesn't mean that's what you should do. I was a really good contracts attorney, but sitting behind a desk 8, 10, 12 hours a day was not fun. You know what I mean? So it's not
Oh,
that just because you're good at something, but it's the combo of the
right,
two. And
right.
that's the two of the elements, if you're familiar with the Japanese concept of ikigai, which is the blue zones, like
Yep.
Japan and Okinawa, Japan and
Mhm.
stuff. They talk about that a little bit. So I think that's ancient teachings, right? That's been around for a very, very long time. This is not new, but I think in our modern world, it does serve as a compass for us to try to figure that out. And I was taught that. I came up with the moniker Freedom Formula, but it was actually a mentor way back in, oh gosh, I think right I think it was right before the crash. Like I knew I had quit practicing law. I was still working in the legal services industry, but I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else. And I found a mentor and he put me through this exercise and it was life changing. I mean, it really helped me realize like it gave me the framework to be able to say yes or no, right?
Mhm.
On whether something fit. And ultimately, when we got to Panama City, Florida, a business opportunity came my way. And because I had done that work, I knew what I was good and a lot, and actually they matched up. Some of the things I was really good at, I also was passionate about, like meeting new people, networking, right? Building relationships and stuff. So, and it was a network marketing opportunity. I'd been with another company and I was able to say yes because I knew the work that I would be doing would be exactly doing the things that I wanted to do, even though I didn't know anything about that industry. I was like, okay, I know what it takes.
Wow.
And ultimately went on to make over $1 million in 6 years on a part time basis with that company. because I was doing teaching,
Yeah.
training, the things that I was good at and that I really love to do.
Well, let's
So,
go back to you were going to do two things. So one is
yeah,
purpose, and the other is find
the
your
other one,
purpose.
which is the last one, but I think it's the most important,
Mhm.
your health.
Oh,
And I know this is, I mean, I wish financial planners would tell people to invest in their health, because if they did that, they wouldn't have to worry about how much money is this. I mean, I've seen astronomical numbers for healthcare in retirement. And of course, I live in Mexico, and the healthcare down there is, I mean, like, 180 degrees is not enough. I mean, my husband went into the Ritz-Carlton of hospitals down there for a kidney stone procedure. And it was like, my first husband was a doctor. So I basically went to medical school in the United States with him and residency and all that. And I am
right.
telling you, I mean, just one little piece of it. The surgeon gave him his cell phone number. Okay, just think about that for a second.
Right.
Right? So anyway, but and I pay $179 a month for a global insurance policy with a $5 million limit, a $2,500 deductible that's half in network.
We're all moving to your house.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean that one issue, that's a big issue in retirement, right? But beyond that, um, the truth is we dig our graves with our teeth.
Mm.
And people don't, I haven't eaten red meat since I was 18 years old. My husband hasn't really, he's actually had some issues with an inflamed colon. And I'm like, it's a good thing you don't eat red meat anymore, because, and he still can. I mean, I'm not going to prevent him from doing that. We go out. I'm like, hey, you can get a steak. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. I don't want to do it. But I mean, just the whole foods, don't eat something unless your grandmother would have recognized it as food. It was probably one of the best pieces of advice. But even things like GMO or the gluten. I mean, I buy pasta made in Italy. Why? Because they don't allow GMO in the European Union, right? The organics, if you've done the research, the pesticides, the insecticides. I mean, yeah, it costs a little bit more, but pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah. I mean, we
Right?
can't do anything without our health, is the
That's
bottom line.
exactly right. And so that's what happens is people don't invest in that. And whether it's working out every single day, I have a morning yoga routine. I do 8 minutes of yoga, no matter what, non-negotiable. Okay. I do my workout every day. I either go to the gym or I have a rebounder. I've had it for 20 years. I love it. A little trampoline. I do that. I have a hula hoop, a workout type hula hoop, keep
Good
the
core.
middle, right? The core. I play tennis. I play golf.
Yes.
I mean, those are things. It's not just about um, leisure activities. I mean, I'm conscious about what is the physical activity and the stress levels. I have an alarm on my phone, on my Apple Watch at 9:45. It says it's time for you to get ready for bed, because that's another area studies have shown you need to sleep about the same time, and you need your beauty rest.
We'll be right back with more of Dawn Fleming teaching us how to claim our dream life. And don't forget all of the information, the book, her house in Mexico, her LinkedIn, all of that, her YouTube channel will be listed in this podcast description. So no matter where you watch or listen to Off Their Rockers, you can find all the links and all the information in the description. Also, if you're looking for my book, Rock to the Top, What I Learned About Success from the World's Greatest Rock Stars, it now goes to 11. You can find that along with my 101 Ways to Rock Success series on Amazon. Most of the books are available in paperback and on Kindle. Let's head back to living our dream life with Dawn Fleming on Off Their Rockers. Now I know
Need it.
you had a good question, Lisa, that you wanted to ask her on not so much the positive side.
Well, yeah, I was curious. I mean, because everybody comes across hurdles,
Yep.
and I think for whatever reason, you've done an amazing job of navigating those. So I wanted to ask you what hurdles that came up that you may not have anticipated, and how did you navigate those?
in 20 minutes.
Yeah, right.
No, actually two, because we're
Yeah,
running out of time.
yeah. You know,
Well, I guess, part of it is, I guess I've always been sort of adventurous. So I think part of it's by nature. I am not somebody that's afraid of change.
mhm.
And so I think
Yes.
that is a huge piece of it.
Mhm.
And one of my girlfriends in California always used to say, she's like, Dawn, you're like a cat. You always land on your feet. I'm an expert at making lemonade, right? Out of lemons when life hits lemons,
Well,
right?
you opened with a good example. When you lost everything,
Yeah.
right? And so
Mhm.
your story essentially describes how you managed that. You just kind of picked it up, moved on,
Well,
found
you
It's
can
some,
sit there and have a pity party, or you can find a
right?
way
Mhm.
to learn from
yeah.
it and do something else.
Yeah, and my husband is great. I mean, thankfully, God is paying me back for my first one. But but he's very adventurous too. I mean, he's moved across country a couple of times before I met him, even, and lived in different places. But we used to joke, it's like, well, we might as well go to Florida because we wanted to move, and then, like I said, the crash happened. And it's like we might as well go to Florida because it's a heck of a lot cheaper to not work in Florida than it is to not work in California. And then he ended up getting this amazing job and having a whole new career.
Mhm.
When we pulled into the dock in Panama City, and the first day we were there, a guy comes home from work, and of course Tom strikes up a conversation. Oh, you work? Well, where do you work? Oh, I work at a shipyard. Oh, there's a shipyard in town. Sort of jokingly says, are they hiring? Because he was 60 years old. Nobody was hiring 60-year-olds in California. And he's like, yeah, we're really busy. What do you do? He goes, well, I'm an electrical engineer. He's like, oh, I mean, he was literally like hired on the spot and promoted within that company very quickly. And because we were open, I think that's it. That's the
Yes.
answer. Be open.
Yeah, and
Trust that
ask, hey,
there's
do you need
something else.
anything? Just,
Yeah.
hey. Okay, so this is not really what Off Their Rockers or anything is about, but maybe it is because Isla Mujeres is one of my favorite places on the face of
Yes.
the earth.
Ooh,
A very good friend has painted huge flower murals on the side of some of the houses there. Another good friend, Skip Bishop, does a big music weekend
yeah.
every year. Maybe you've been to that where they raise money for the little yellow schoolhouse.
Island Time
So
Music Festival. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I come in every year for that
Is
because
Barbara the muralist?
no, it's
Oh,
Cheryl
Cheryl.
Evans.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it's just a fantastic place. So I just wanted to remind people, I am going to put in the podcast description, wherever you're listening or watching this, not only a link to your book, which is Claim Your Dream Life. Also, I'll put a link to your LinkedIn so people can find out more about the 5, things you need to do before you retire. But I'll also put a link to the house, and the name of the house
Okay.
is.
Castillito del Caribe. So it's Castillito, Castillito, Caribe, Caribe.com is that website. And yeah, it's fabulous. It's a great property. It's walking distance to, of course, it wasn't at the time that we bought it, but it is now. It's been ranked the #1 beach in all of Mexico, Playa
Well,
Norte.
that helps, rentals. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
yes,
very
absolutely.
attractive, very
Yeah.
inviting.
All right, Lisa, any other questions?
Well, if people wanted to find you and connect with you, do you have a website? How would they do
Actually,
that?
yeah, actually, probably the best place would be my YouTube channel,
Oh,
which is Midlife in Paradise. And I've been publishing every week for over a year now. So there's probably close to 60 videos on there.
mm,
In fact, I have a free guide, the top 10 questions about moving overseas, retiring overseas. So I've done a video series. So there's a video for each one of those 10 questions that's searchable and stuff. But there's just a ton of information on that. I've been very intentional about creating evergreen content that is really helpful for people to be able to find some
oh,
information.
well,
Okay,
thank
so
you
again,
for
we're going to have a link to all of that in the
right,
podcast
Right.
description. But
Okay.
Dawn Fleming, final words for someone listening to this who is either thinking about retiring or not retiring well. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say this. The truth is, most people don't fail financially in retirement. They fail psychologically.
I don't know about you, but I am immediately, after this podcast finishes, checking out Dawn's house in Mexico. Isla Mujeres, one of my favorite places, truly on the face of the earth. It is a great, wonderful, small island, easy to get to. You fly to Cancun, you hop the ferry over to Isla, and you fall madly in love. I think we all going to have to buy her book, How to Claim Your Dream Life, so that we can live down there like that. All the links to finding the house, her book, my books, everything, you'll find either in the description here on the podcast, or you can always go to my website, daynasteele.com, DAYNASTEELE, and find the podcast, books, and links to everything there. Thanks for listening to Off Their Rockers. You can join hosts Dayna Steele, me, and Lisa Forhan as we continue to discover women around the world living their life to its fullest and then some. Are you one of these women? We want to talk to you. Let us know at daynasteele.com. Off Their Rockers is produced by JFA Inc., executive producer Dayna Steele, copyright JFA Inc.